Hey guys, it's me, Josiah David, aka I2I35, and welcome to another episode of the Correcting SolRosenberg84 series, where I plan on reviewing every single one of Mike's videos all the way from the beginning till the end. And nothing says quite like responding to a rude, depraved, cantankerous brother who looks a lot like Harry Potter and Greg Arkin. And I'm going to have to say this again, Sol Rosenberg, you cannot defend a dying, dangerous, depressing, degenerating, deceitful, fallacious, erroneous worldview. Why would you defend a religion has a long history of promoting racist attitudes and a long history of giving people a feeling of depression and having to slit their wrists and take drugs? And why would you defend a religion that has supported communism, Nazism, socialism, and humanism, all sorts of types? I mean, why would you defend that? But anyway, this is a response to a response made by a video called Jesusophile, Why Atheist Arguments Don't Work, and I happened to watch the video by myself, and he gave some of the pretty well-known arguments, but I have to admit in some cases the arguments were kind of vague. For example, we have the world, therefore God created it. Yeah, I might admit, I'll make a video about this, that some beginning amateur creationists might go in circular reasoning circles. They might do that, but there's actually logic and common sense that can be answered for an evolutionist, the proper creation scientific reasons for believing so. But anyway, this is what Sol Rosenberg has to bash him about it.
I'd like to talk about why a lot of the arguments that atheists always give against religion don't work.
I like to stop right there. I'm going to have to say Jesusophile is really using the wrong words, like they argue against religion. I'm with them. I agree that religion is wrong, and I'm with them. But basically, they're not applying that word right. If Jesus is religion, then health is disease. The gospel of Christ is far from religion in every aspect, sense, standard, and perspective.
God is that they say you can't prove God is there because we can't see Him. We can't see God, so He's not there.
Yeah, I used one of these statements in my message to all secular atheists and so on. They like to say we can't see Him because He doesn't exist. Yeah, that's a good argument, just basically saying that. For example, I never saw the person who made this Mac computer, and it's not logical to say He exists, but because of the grand design and so on, it's logical to understand that there was intelligence behind it. The same thing with our complex bodies and the whole complex Earth, and all the trees, animals, and people, everything's so well designed that the only logical conclusion is that there was intelligence behind it, and so on.
First off, there's a very big difference between the specific Christian deity and air, because we have evidence that air exists. You know what I mean by this? We have wind vanes, we can control it, we can pressurize it, we understand its chemical composition, and
Exactly, we can test it and put it in a laboratory tube test thing and so on. We can use it and so on, and it's basically one of the major things that help planes fly, etc. But basically, you have faith at first that the air exists because you felt it all your life. The same thing with God. You can feel Him all your life. God has created us in a certain way to search after Him. And of course, by deeper research, just like not recognizing you didn't know that you had a brain, or you didn't know that there was air. Until you go meticulous research and studying, you can't find it out. Just the same thing with the Lord. You can't find Him out by going out there and searching things out for yourself, just like with your brain and air.
This in your video fun. And secondly, we need God like we need air. Non sequitur. What the f, dude? There's...
Well, God is life, and He's the one who actually gives us our every breath. Like, we need to breathe to be alive, and of course, God is the one who is sustaining the whole earth. He's sustaining your whole room. He's sustaining your computer. He's sustaining the chair you're sitting on. Everything holds together by His word, but because of the curse of sin, He's withdrawn some of that power, and things are going down, the second law of thermodynamics.
Either there is a God, or there is not a God.
And he goes off saying, oh, no, it's not 50%, no. I have to say, a Russian astronomer said the same thing. Either there is a God or there isn't. Both possibilities are frightening, he said.
There is evidence.
Okay. Do
For
share.
Him existing.
Okay, do share.
Which is the world.
Well, basically, creationists and evolutionists both have the same evidence. We're looking at the same rock layers. We're looking at the same animals. We're looking at the same people groups. We're looking at the same, for example, DNA. We're looking at the same world and coming to different conclusions. But basically, the type of evidence that evolutionists like to bring up, like Archaeopteryx or Piltdown Man or the peppered moth, all of which have been proven wrong. And yeah, there's evidence to show, but I'm going to have to say a lot of evidence in favor of creation doesn't really get out to the public because of the biasness in slanted journalism and research these days in academia.
He's one of these idiots going to argue that because reality exists, we therefore know that there's a God. That's called a...
Yeah, that's circular reasoning and so on. Yeah, I try to avoid that as much as I can. I recognize that too in his videos a little bit. I think giving slam dunk evidence is a real thing to basically help educate and help understand people that a certain side, perhaps the creation side, is the truthful and intellectual one.
Non sequitur once again. This is fucking childish.
Which is us, you know, the entire world, everything on it. And there's no evidence for him not existing, because if he would...
You're trying to state that a god is a necessary factor to create a universe.
Well, obviously it couldn't happen by itself, because that really violates the laws of science. There had to be intelligence behind it, just like the same thing with Mount Rushmore. That could not happen by exfoliation or erosion or millions of years of erosion. It took intelligence to carve those faces into the rock. Just everything getting here by itself... everything would basically run down. The world could not create itself. Either someone created the world, or the world made itself. There are no other options, and it would make sense that it would take intelligence to create everything in this earth. Everything would have died out a long time ago if everything supposedly came here by itself. It just wouldn't work.
It's not scientific. You just hear they said, scientists could not disagree with me. Yeah, they could, because you've got no fucking evidence for your position.
Well, you'd like to think that, and we try to give it to you all the time, but I'm going to have to say, you close your eyes and put your fingers in your ears and you say, I'm blind and I can't see it either. We do have evidence, but folks like you are willingly not wanting to see it. And I have to say, in certain cases, yes, a lot of creation science articles have made it, some of them have made it into the secular articles, and basically... yeah, I never present my arguments without data, and I don't call people names, I make arguments.
People in the history of human...
Really?
Pol Pot, Mao, and Hitler and Stalin, something like that. Well, by proper, basic understanding, people would like to bring them up as a big, example of someone who did something very bad. Who knows, they might have been, I don't know, perhaps other people were, well, by our way of thinking, we thought they were the most evil, but perhaps by God's way of thinking, well, we're all, we've all done sinful things and fallen short of the glory of God. Some are worse than others in man's eyes.
Saying that because these four tyrants were all atheists, therefore any atheist getting power is going to become a power-hungry psycho, a psycho to destroy the world, yes, give it to me, so
All I'm saying is that a lot of evolutionists these days don't understand that evolutionism is supposed to be taken to a much greater extent. Darwin said himself in his book, he said, death is the way we get along, you know. Anyone who really wants to faithfully believe in evolution can. We did not say that every evolutionist is going to become a racist. They could use evolutionism to support, for example, the attitude of racism. Basically, evolutionism is the foundation for humanism, that man is God. All these men, Stalin, Hitler, Pol Pot, Mao, they all thought they were gods.
Who had ego cults built around themselves.
Exactly.
Around themselves. They had state-based dogma, ego cults. This is a reflection of religion.
Yes.
This is not a reflection of critical thinking.
I'm going to have to say that people like SolRosenberg, they don't know how to think at all. They've been only told what to think. Example of thinking for yourself is thinking, wow, we lost a tail because we didn't need it. A tail would be very helpful. Like an example from Hovind when he was just 9 years old.
And it has pretty much nothing to do with the critical thinking atheists that you'll run into here on YouTube.
Well, you don't know the dark history.